psychologists discovered something disturbing about the human brain. It takes less than 3 seconds for people to judge you before you even speak. Your posture, your silence, your eye contact. Your brain is already sending signals without you knowing it. But at the end of this video, I'll reveal one simple psychological trick that can instantly change how people react to you. Our brain is a mysterious and powerful machine, constantly working behind the scenes. It creates shortcuts to navigate the world, and these shortcuts are what we call psychology. Let's explore some of the mind's hidden rules. First, your brain is addicted to patterns. Think about your morning routine. You probably follow the same steps every day without thinking. Wake up, check your phone, make coffee. This isn't laziness, it's efficiency. Your brain craves predictability because it saves energy. When something breaks the pattern like a new road on your commute, it immediately grabs your attention. Your brain registers it as a potential threat or a puzzle to be solved. This love for the familiar is why we often resist change, even when it's good for us. We're wired to prefer the comfort of the known over the uncertainty of the unknown. Now, let's talk about something we often try to avoid: silence. Most people feel an urgent need to fill a quiet moment in a conversation. This is because silence creates psychological pressure. In a negotiation, for instance, the person who speaks first after a proposal is often the one who gives in. Your brain interprets the quiet as a social void that needs to be filled, a signal that something is wrong. We rush to speak to relieve that tension. It's a subconscious power struggle, and the one who can comfortably hold the silence often holds the upper hand. The pressure to break it reveals a lack of confidence, a desire for approval. This leads us to our next point. We are wired to follow confidence. Imagine you're in a crowded building when a fire alarm goes off. People are confused, looking around. Then, one person walks calmly and decisively toward an exit. What happens? Almost instinctively, others will follow. That person might not know the best way out, but their confident behavior signals leadership and knowledge. Our brains are designed to follow the herd, especially when faced with uncertainty. It's a survival instinct. We assume that someone who acts with conviction knows something we don't. This is why confidence, even when misplaced, can be incredibly persuasive. People are drawn to certainty, even if it's an illusion. But are our decisions really that logical? Not at all. Emotions consistently override logic. Think about a time you bought something you didn't need just because it was on sale. The feeling of getting a good deal, the emotional high, was more powerful than the logical thought that you were spending money unnecessarily. Our brains are not cold, calculating machines. They are deeply emotional. When we make decisions, the emotional centers of our brain light up long before the logical parts do. We make a choice based on how we feel, and then we use logic to justify it afterward. This is why stories are more powerful than statistics. A story connects with our emotions, while data just speaks to our intellect. And all of this comes back to the beginning, the first impression. We've already established that people judge you in less than 3 seconds. How is this possible? Your brain is a rapid-fire assumption machine. It takes small bits of information, your posture, your expression, your clothes, and fills in the enormous gaps with pre-existing biases and stereotypes. It doesn't have time to gather all the facts, so it creates a narrative. If you walk into a room slumped over and avoiding eye contact, the brains of others might label you as insecure or untrustworthy before you say a word. It's not fair, but it's how our minds are wired for quick assessment. We don't see people as they are, we see them as our brain assumes them to be. This is why those initial few seconds are so critical. They set the story that others will tell themselves about you. This leads to another fascinating mental shortcut. Your brain hates a vacuum of information. It will always try to fill in the blanks. If a friend sends you a short text that just says we need to talk, what does your brain do? It probably doesn't assume they want to discuss the weather. It jumps to conclusions, often negative ones. It creates stories to explain the missing context. This is known as closure. We need things to make sense, to have a beginning, middle, and end. When information is incomplete, our mind generates its own details to complete the picture. This happens in conversations, in relationships, and in how we perceive the world. We are constantly co-authoring a reality based on limited data, filling in the plot holes with our own fears, hopes, and assumptions. So, we've seen how our brains crave patterns, fear silence, follow confidence, prioritize emotion, and fill in the gaps. These automatic processes are running your life, shaping how others see you and how you see yourself. But you are not powerless. You can use these very same psychological principles to your advantage. Now, for the one simple trick I promised at the beginning. It's something you can use today to instantly change how people perceive you, to make them listen more closely, and to give your words more weight. It has nothing to do with what you say, but everything to do with what you don't say. Here it is. When you finish speaking, pause. Don't rush to fill the void. Don't add a nervous or you know, simply stop and hold the silence for 2 full seconds. 1, 2, that's it. Why does this work? Because, as we've learned, the human brain is uncomfortable with silence. When you intentionally create it, you subvert expectations. Instead of interpreting it as your weakness or nervousness, the other person's brain interprets it as your confidence. It signals that you are so sure of what you just said that it needs no further explanation. It creates a moment of tension that forces them to process your words. This small act of holding your ground makes people lean in. It gives you an aura of authority and self-assurance. Try it in your next meeting, your next conversation, your next presentation. Finish your point and then just be quiet. Watch how people react. In the end, it's not the world that defines you. It's the silent signals you send out every second of every day. Your own behavior is a mirror, and the world simply reflects the image you show it. Thanks for watching.